It's hiring season. If you've always wanted to teach English in Japan, now is the time to apply. Let's get started. My name is Upendanais Barasa. I moved to Japan to teach English from Kenya. If you're interested, subscribe. You don't want to miss it. Come on, join the bandwagon. Hi, my name is Upendanais Barasa. I'm from Nairobi, Kenya, and I've been living in Japan for the past year and a half as an English teacher. I get many questions about what do I need to move to Japan? Do I need to be a native speaker? Do I need to be a qualified teacher? And I'm here to answer all your questions. I think at the beginning of the year, I made a video very similar to this, but things change a lot and policies have changed. Therefore, I felt the need to make an updated video. Let's get started. The first thing that you need is a neutral accent. You want to speak in a way that anyone in the world who speaks English is able to understand clearly what you're trying to say. It doesn't mean that your home accent is terrible. It's not. And because you're going to teach English to people who don't speak it as a first language, they need to receive it or, be taught, they need to receive it in the most natural way. And this is what recruiters are looking for. So if you have like a thick Indian accent, a thick Ugandan, Kenyan, Nigerian, South African accent, during your interviews, try to stick to the most neutral way of pronouncing words or of articulating yourself, which makes you a better candidate. But when you're back home, obviously, you can speak however you want. I know with people who speak more than one language, like myself, we are able to code switch a lot, so it's not a big problem. But just be mindful of that, especially during the interview process. The second document is your passport. This is a very, very common mistake that people make. They go ahead and start the application process without even applying for their passport beforehand. My friends, it will bite you. It will bite you. Please don't do that. Think of it this way. When you're back home, your ID is your identification card. But internationally, your passport acts as your ID. This is one of the first documents they're going to ask from you, and you better have it, because if you don't produce it, you'll not even be given a chance to be interviewed or go ahead with the process. All they want to see is this person who said, from their CV, do they actually exist? Are you a real person? And your passport is your identification card. So before anything else, make sure you apply for your passport, make sure it's ready, have it at hand before you start your application. All they need to see is the biodata page, which is the page with your name, information, picture, etc. You just scan it and send it to them. If you do have an old passport, it's okay. Just make sure to tell them that, hey, my new passport is still in progress, but I still have my old passport and this is the information. After your passport is out, tell them my new passport is out. So everything is fine. Okay. The next thing is you need a bachelor's degree. It doesn't have to be in education. The bare minimum is just have a bachelor's degree in any field. You can be a chef, you can be a lawyer, you can be a doctor, a nurse, it doesn't matter. Have a bachelor's degree. I say this, I receive questions about this, to be quite honest. People would ask, what about if I have a diploma? What about if I have a certificate? If you don't have a bachelor's degree, forget about it. This is not a thing, it's not a requirement by the companies, it's a requirement by the immigration. You cannot get a valid instructor visa, which is the visa that teachers are on, if you do not have a bachelor's degree. It's one of the requirements to get the instructor visa. Therefore, if you don't have a bachelor's degree in any field, possibly you might not even get through with the application. Now let's get to the tricky part. You need a resume. And in your resume, obviously, make sure it is ATS friendly. If you don't know what an ATS friendly CV is or resume is, just type it in on Google. It will tell you what to do. Or prompt ChatGPT or Gemini. They should be able to guide you. In your CV, make sure you highlight your experience, whether it's in customer service, whether it's in education, formal or non-formal. It doesn't have to be formal, but if you've had experience with teaching or leadership or leading kids or training, any form of leadership, that is a very good it's a very good place to start, because they just want to see what you can do. And if you don't have any teaching experience whatsoever, it's still okay, because they're not looking for people who are actual teachers. They just want people who can actually speak a language. And teaching English or teaching any language does not require any teaching abilities or degree. Of course, to some extent it matters, but they train you on the job. Before you start teaching, they will train you, they will tell you what you have to do, especially if you've never been a teacher before. Therefore, make sure you tailor your CV in a way that, you know, clean, ATS friendly, don't do too much with it. You want to stand out, and the person who is going through CVs just wants to skim through. They don't want to be confused, like, oh, your name cannot even be seen. Just make sure your CV is clean. They're not looking for any big anything. You don't have to over impress them, because they know what they're looking for. Make sure that your name is clear, your experience is clear, and your education background is clear. That's all that you need. Next is your cover letter. Before, I never had to write a cover letter, but I know, oops, my microphone, sorry. Before, I never had to write a cover letter, but I know how important it is right now. I think during my application process, all we had to do was write an essay. I never had to write a CV, yes, because the application was like on a website, and I just had to input my information, and the person will go through it, and then, you know, they will contact you. But now you have to write a resume, you have to write a cover letter, and that's what you use as your application. So in your cover letter, also don't make it complicated. Think about Japan as a country. Why do you like Japan? Answer the question, why do you want to teach English in Japan? It makes it easier. Talk about their culture, talk about their entertainment industry, talk about their food, their traditions, things that you know about Japan that you're interested in, and also think about how you're gonna, you know, contribute to the Japanese society as an English teacher, because the role of an ALT is, one, to be an assistant to the Japanese teacher, and two, to be a cultural ambassador. That's all you have to think about. And if you're going to be a cultural ambassador, you also have to learn and, you know, involve yourself in their culture, but at the same time, you are also bringing your culture to the table. So talk about how you're going to do that, as well as being an assistant to the English teacher. And make sure you also relate it to the classroom. How are you going to teach English, but at the same time integrate your culture, and at the same time receiving or accepting or learning about their culture? That's simple. License. Well, this is not mandatory, but it gives you an upper hand if you do have a driver's license. We have two types of position. We have a driving position and a non-driving position. I am in a non-driving position because I can't drive to save my life. Therefore, I am placed or positioned in a place where I can be able to access public transportation like trains, buses, etc. But we do have many openings in the rural areas where you will need maybe to drive to get to work or to access even the closest public transport. So if you do have a driver's license, you're good to go. If you don't worry, you can still get a non-driving position. Okay. Lastly, you do need two referees. Now, these are people that one one has to be academic and the other one has to be professional. Academic meaning somebody who has seen you through school, like your professor, your dean of students, someone like a teacher or something. And then the professional one has to be somebody who has been your supervisor or your manager at your places of work. If you were a teacher somewhere, think of the deputy principal, the principal, or the head of department, something like that. If you are in short, think of your supervisor. You need two referees, professional, academic, could be a school professor, could be a supervisor at work. I guess that's it. See you again next week, same place, same time.